you never know what Big Brother is going to throw at you because they say expect the unexpected. But then it's almost like the second you have your plan in place, something happens to where it's like thrown in the air. Because I even remember and things that not even the game could have predicted. It's with someone else, with one of your alliance members. They want to turn on you for no reason. It's just, you kind of have to be ready to just roll with the punches and go in whatever direction the game's taking you.
And that's the advice from the winner of BB13. So, I love that. Hi, welcome to The Secret Alliance. If you're new here on this channel, the people who played the game of Big Brother talk about the current season. Please subscribe to the Secret Alliance channel, hit the like button on this video, and turn on notifications for more Big Brother game talk. And stick around for some BB24 house news that really stinks. It's at the end of this video.
Welcome to the Secret Alliance podcast. I am Rachel Riley, and I am joined by Jason Guy, the television guy, and we're
You make me blush.
I know. Listen, you are 20 years in, Jason, and we were just discussing the showmance, bromance, friendship mance names, because we have showmance, bromance of Pooch. What do we decide?
Pooch and Joseph, have been really canoodling in this house. So it's a bromance, and the internet has given them this hashtag, Poosef.
Poosef, yes, Poosef.
We think. And we don't know.
I'm standing Poosef, and I'm not gonna lie. Now I know they're saying it's like showmance, bromance on Big Brother. They're asking them questions. So in the live feeds, they've been asking them, are they like interested in each other? Like, what's going on here? But both of them are still saying it's a bromance. So far they're coming together saying it's a bromance.
Yeah, but Pooch is always cold, so he needs to snuggle in.
He always needs to snuggle
with Joseph, and they do have this connection here. I mean, they've got great chemistry.
Yes.
So it's like, all right, maybe a bromance, but maybe more, and we're all here for it. This has been so fun. Although now we see what's happening in the game, and that might all come to an end. But before we get to that, we want to talk about another duo that people are here for. They're the Stan thing. Are there something else, Rachel, that you're saying people shipping? Like I take it.
Like the Gen Z term is when you ship something. I'm totally shipping it. Like, I guess it means you're totally into it. And listen, I hope
the only thing I know about shipping is from Amazon. They're totally shipping me my stuff.
Reply below. Let us know if we're wrong.
Yeah, I'm 45 now. 20 years ago, I was on Big Brother. In my 20s, my mid 20s, when I was doing Big Brother, that's when I would have, been up with all these terms. Now, like, this is what my kids are saying. I don't even know.
Same. Yeah, so listen, I'm feeling the same way, but I'm trying to use the Gen Z terms, and I believe shipping means that we love because they're friends. So it's a friendship, right?
Yeah, and this is Taylor and Michael we're talking about here. Yeah, so this friendship, Taylor and Michael. We're shipping it. Shipping
Taylor and Michael's friendship. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to use it correctly, but we love it. And the name, and I don't know who came up with this. Did you come up with this, Rachel? The Takel?
I did. I have not seen it yet on Twitter. So last night I decided to ask everyone, because we've noticed now we're all rooting for Taylor. We're all rooting for Michael. And finally, our two biggest stands in the house, the Gen Z term, the two that we're rooting for are coming together. So they're becoming BFFs. They are forming this, like, maybe it's an alliance, but it's definitely a friendship, and we're loving their friendship. They're protecting each other. We saw Michael, spoiler alert, in the veto, he was allowing Taylor to try to win the veto for herself. So I think that there's something there. I think that they could really be good allies for each other.
Yeah.
But we know whatever is, like, if they're going to be in an alliance together or what, they haven't come up with a name yet, or they haven't made it official, but we know they're good friends, which is important.
And I'm here for Takel. I love this. That sounds like a great one. Okay. So we've got Poosef and Takel. And you just brought up something that I thought was really interesting as we saw the most recent episode of Big Brother that aired Wednesday night kind of playing out, is that maybe Michael did want Taylor to win so she could pull herself off and he could convince our HOH and Jasmine to put Joseph on the block right next to Pooch to make sure one of these guys gets booted out this week and he doesn't have to get any blood on his hands. I kind of was wondering why he would want the nominations to change. And then later I was like, oh, now it's all coming together. I'm getting why he's thinking that way.
Right. So I was thinking that. And then I also think he does have I think Michael does want Taylor to stay in the house, because we saw this week, we saw them talking, we saw them kind of, and I wouldn't say that they have like an alliance yet, that they have said we're in an alliance, but it's more like they're a friendship. They're known that they're coming together. They're forming this, like almost like you and Danielle. Maybe it'll be a secret alliance.
Ooh, that is something to watch for, because that could be huge.
That could be huge. And although they do hang out a lot, so I don't know like if it could be as secret as they want it to be, but you know, in Big Brother, we don't know what's going on in that house. Like we watch the feeds, but we don't know what's going on in their heads. You know what I mean?
Well, when you watch the feeds, you saw Taylor upset after the nomination ceremony. She's crying in the house. She's right there. It feels like just emotionally fragile. And then we see the diary room finally on the episode, and she goes, I'm just playing this. She felt really good about the position she was in, and go, oh, I've been feeling terrible for her as I'm watching the feeds. Right.
I was shocked when I saw that. So I was really thinking that Taylor has been crushed with the nominations, crushed with the treatment she's been getting in the house. So now I'm just wondering if it's like she's just living this all up for the show. And some people on Twitter were comparing Dan's funeral to Taylor's one drink of wine, where she said that she wants to align with Daniel to try to get or make out with him. I think that was which was a little too much for me, but whatever. I mean, I know that house, there's not a lot of options. If she wants to make out with Daniel.
But what you're saying is that would not be your first choice for Taylor.
No, definitely not my first choice for Taylor, but I see where she would need to convince him, because he has a strong voice in the house, and it seems like Daniel has he's very persuasive, and I think a lot of people in the house listen to him. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens. I'm hoping that there's no making out with Daniel and Taylor, but.
If there is, Big Brother will give a theme song to that make-out music. We may even hear some sloppy sound effects of the smooch. Yeah, they love doing that. They're really having fun with the sound effects here with Jasmine and her squeaky wheel. This is like they pulled the squeaky wheel sound effect out from a few seasons ago when we heard Christmas wheeling around.
I love it. And you know what else I love this episode was the veto. So this, like, the fact that they're dressed up like mermaids and going through what I can only think in my head is like these beads that you buy. They're like sensory beads, water beads that you buy for your kids. And I'm assuming it's something like that with the blue stuff. What do you think that blue stuff is?
Maybe it was the Orbeez. Is that what we thought they were? But they had some, it felt like glitter mixed in.
Well, and I think that the ones I buy for Adler, or for when I used to buy them for Adora too, they had glitter. So I'm wondering if if that's what those are.
We just did that the other day in the pool. The kids were like, Dad, how many Orbeez do you think we would have to buy to fill the whole pool? I was like, don't even think about that, because the money that's going to cost to get that cleaned out. I was like, not one. They're fun, but they're a lot. But they're slipping and sliding around, and then if you pop one, it's wet on your path. So
it's amazing.
Kudos to both. Taylor looked great out there, and then to Michael. Who, spoiler here, it's been on TV by now. I mean, that Michael won the veto second week in a row. This guy's showing up as a competition beast.
I know. And like you said, he's showing up, which is something that he's not afraid to win. Like, I really like that about him. Like, he's not holding it back. I think that he's gonna be someone that the house is gonna have to watch out for. He could take it all the way if he's gonna keep going, but then they might turn on him, because they always do that in this game.
Yeah,
they want to get the confidence out.
Yeah, they want to comp Beast out. You know this.
do.
Janelle knows this all too well. Now, when we talk about Michael's game, did he give too much away about the fact that he's a strategist by saying, hey, we've got a chance to get Joseph on the block. We could put him up next to Pooch. Do these house guests start going, whoa, this guy's really playing a chess match. He's thinking too far ahead.
See, I don't think so, because I think they're all thinking like that right now. Well, so we saw Paloma doing that, where she's like, I figured out the game. And then this week on the feeds, on Twitter, it was a big trending thing when Nicole has said she's figured out the game. So it seems like they're all thinking like 20 steps ahead. And I remember my first time as a player playing Big Brother, I did the same mistakes where it was like, okay, week 1, we're going to do this. Week 2, we're doing this. Week 3, we're doing, I think I figured out the game. Like, I do remember doing that. So I think they're all doing this. I don't think they're going to think he's too big of a strategist. But I think he has to be careful because he's winning competitions. He's good at the strategy. It's just going to take one person to start to be like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It is something that I do worry a little bit about, because at first I thought, okay, Michael's odd man out. Now he's accepted in and he may reveal too much. And I get nervous for him. But you brought up a really interesting point here, Rachel, in that everybody goes, I think I figured it out. How did that go for you on season 12?
Oh, it didn't go. It didn't go.
Yeah.
You
and
can't
so season
figure
13, you came in and you said, I've got to win comps when I need to. I'm going to navigate this as things come at you. And not that you have to play a reactive game, but you don't know what twists and turns are coming your way from Julie and the team. You do not know
100%.
what Big Brother is going to throw at you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the biggest thing, is because you never know what Big Brother is going to throw at you, because they say expect the unexpected. But then it's almost like the second you have your plan in place, something happens to where it's like thrown in the air. Because I even remember and things that not even the game could have predicted. It's with someone else, with one of your alliance members. They want to turn on you for no reason. It's just, you kind of have to be ready to just roll with the punches and go in whatever direction the game is taking you.
And that's the advice from the winner of BB13. So, I love that. So, how about as we talk about who's still nominated, and that's Pooch and Taylor, how about Joseph sort of giving a little heads up to Pooch, like, hey, maybe they're going to target you, and Pooch is still seemingly unaware this is going to happen in the live eviction, which, by the way, or taped eviction or eviction, whenever it does happen, we don't know
if it happens.
I know we didn't have one first week. Why would we have one the second week?
Right. And I'm wondering the same thing, Jason, because I was thinking like, okay, Joseph has to tell Pooch, they're each other's ride or die, as they say in Big Brother. And they're each other's number one. So I think Joseph is telling him like, hey, look, we have to work really hard this week. We have to get you to get in good graces with everyone. I saw on Twitter that they were talking about how Joseph is going to different groups trying to campaign for Pooch. And Pooch is kind of campaigning for himself now. I guess in the beginning he was not, but now he's started to campaign for himself. But I think that Pooch and Joseph think it's a slam dunk. I don't think they even think that, because they're still in first week mentality and they need to change that. I think that they both still think it's a slam dunk, like that Taylor's going home over Pooch. So I think they don't realize that at all. And I think that the votes that they're losing, I think are I thought they think they have Nate, but I don't think they have him.
Yeah, I think they feel like they've got a couple of the guys in there.
And they don't have, right?
Yeah. So they I don't think they've got Turner.
Turner, right.
Terrence may be a wild card on there. They don't have Monty.
That's
Monty for sure. And speaking of Monty, I've been trying to figure out who he's really going to align himself with as a ride or die. Do you see? Is it one of the guys here? Who do you see him really connecting with? Because you can't play this game alone. Yes, there's only one winner, but you do need people to help you in this house and give you information and to work with you at times when your back is against the wall.
Yeah, Monty's confusing to me because he could be in with Terrence and with he could have been in with even with Taylor wanted to work with him, but he keeps like almost going against all these alliances that are wanting to form around him. So I'm not sure what's going on in his head. And maybe him and Terrence are gonna be each other's like ride or die. But right now, it feels like they hang out a lot, but it doesn't feel like they trust each other as much as they should.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Well, as I watch things, that's what I'm looking for on feeds and go, okay, who's Monty talking with? And he's very connected to everybody. He's very social. Everybody likes him. And like you're saying, they all want him in their alliances, but he's not going to be true to those. When we hear his diary room conversation, we go, well, who are you connected with? So I think for Monty, he's got to figure that out. Let us know, by the way, Monty, not that he could hear us. But Terrence, I do think could be a good option for him. Now, he may be a little nervous about aligning with Terrence just because the players who are older in this game always get picked off eventually. It's just something that we've seen season after season. So I would love to see Terrence as one of the older house guests, so old, like 2 years older than me. Let me just double check my notes here that I can't read because I need some glasses. No, I'm kidding. 47 there in the BB house. I'm 45. Like, I don't want to see Terrence go. We're in this here. Also, I mean, America does not want to lose another night have a night without Chicago's hottest karaoke DJ.
Right. Yes, we need Chicago's hottest karaoke DJ.
Terrence. So I'd like to see them align up. But Terrence, I think, is doing a good job laying low. He's in nobody's mouth. They're not talking about him for nominations. I think that's really, really great for him. I do want to give this programming note. We joked about it a second ago. This is the tweet, CBS tweet that came out that basically says, hey, we're not doing the show this week. The Thursday weekly eviction is going to move to a 2-hour episode Sunday night. So the 24th, Sunday night, get ready from 8 to 10 Eastern and Pacific. There on CBS, they're gonna bring us that episode. But what is a little confusing right now is if they are going to go ahead and record this possibly on Thursday night or Friday night, and then put the feeds dark for the whole weekend. Until this airs out on the West Coast, they may not turn the feeds back on.
Do you think they would do that? Because I feel like the fans will revolt.
but what are you going to do? They're Big Brother. They run the show. Right, you could be mad. You could say I'm upset, but I mean it happens. And there are times where they've gone off for a couple of days. I mean, it is still beautiful weather in most of the country. It's hot, but it's like get outside. Hey, maybe that.
Maybe. Well, but it's so interesting because I swear I thought I had read that the show was going to, it's not airing tonight, but it was going to air on Friday. And then they told us that the PR folks said, and they were like, we're going to do the show Friday night and do the eviction show. That was the initial plan, when Thursday night would be the Capitol hearing about the January 6th riot. And so they said that's live in prime time at 8:00. We're moving to Friday. And they said we won't have the exit interview with the evicted house guests because they're not doing it on Saturday. And then all of a sudden if timeline rolls on and it's Monday. So we said, okay, well, we didn't get to talk to Paloma. Now we're not going to get to talk to the second evictee. But then when we found out about this, and they didn't say live Sunday night episode. So it's why people, I think, are just jumping to that conclusion, making the leap that this is going to be a taped episode. I mean, it's Sunday night. Could you imagine now, no feeds from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days? I don't think they've ever done 4 days. I mean,
no, that is a long time. They've pulled them down for a day or two.
Right. I was going to say, I think the longest I remember, it was like a day and a half or something. I don't remember why. And maybe it was like, but I also remember we used to pre-record feeds. Do you remember did you ever have to do that?
No, what?
So
is this a secret? Are you going to get in trouble for sharing this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Please stop talking about production.
Do not talk.
All right,
about
Don. By the way, the voice of Don Woolman.
Right, really.
Please stop talking about production. It's recorded, and there's a little like box where whoever's in the control room could press it, and it's like a name and then a command. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Rachel, stop talking about production. Yeah, you just hit the buttons. Okay.
I
Sorry.
love that.
Sidebar there. So how do you pre-record feeds?
So we okay, so on it must have been season 13 because we had Pop TV. So because Pop TV aired every night, so it was a little different because this is just on Paramount, but Paramount Plus. But when it was on Pop TV, we had a party or something, and they were like, okay, this is going to be a pre-recorded feed for the feeds. So, and it started at like, the feeds started, let's say they started from 8 to midnight or something. So this must have started at like either 4 or at 6 or something like that. But it was like a few hours before, and they're like, okay, we're gonna give you guys this party. So you just have a party and just like talk game and talk about whatever you're gonna talk about. And this will be airing when the feeds are down on whatever day it was, like Saturday or something.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and
so production.
maybe they do something like that where they give a little bit of a feed, a couple of hours or something, and in that little the feeds, maybe they give a little slate and they put a graphic on there that says feeds will resume between 2 and 4 today, and they do that, and there's no talk of game, although we would know right away somebody's missing. So I don't think they can pull it off. I don't think they can pull it off.
They could just not show Taylor or Pooch. They could say don't talk about game, and they just don't show Taylor and they don't show Pooch. You know what I mean? So that way nobody knows who's missed, like which one of them is missing.
It feels like a lot could go wrong, but I love the thought that they would do something like this. I had no idea. You've just blown my mind here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It was not after an eviction or anything. So there was no like giving away anything. So it wasn't, there was no big excitement anyways, but it was definitely, it definitely was a thing. I think they
what if they take the feeds off at some point for an hour here or an hour there before the eviction, and record some stuff that's like that, a party, they give them a game, they do something fun, and then we have these little things that they put on loop over the weekend. I had no idea that was even a possibility. I was like, just bring on the puppies and the kittens at the shelter or the fish tank or whatever we're doing this season, and make that happen. Okay. Wow. All right. I'm loving that. Okay. Let's also, Rachel, talk about with this season, something that's mind blowing beyond the fact, Val, that I know you can record feeds. It's the volunteering already to be a pawn, and what looks like to be something that's going to backfire for Pooch's game. Okay,
so I agree. That is mind-blowing because any Big Brother fan knows you never volunteer to go on the block.
No,
never. And for him to volunteer to be a pawn, it's just like, this is the elementary 101 of Big Brother. Like, it should say that in the Big Brother handbook. Before you go on the show, you never volunteer to be a pawn. We've seen this over and over again. The pawn goes home. So I'm a little surprised that this is how it's gonna, but maybe Big Brother future house guests need a reminder. Don't volunteer to be a pawn. There you go.
That's your PSA from Big Brother 13 winner, Rachel Riley.
Exactly.
Put it down in the books. Okay, so looking at whenever we see the eviction at some point during the special 2-hour episode Sunday night, if it happens, if it airs, I feel like everybody's just waiting and nervous. Like, is it going to air Sunday night after the change to the Friday show that then got moved to a 2-hour Sunday night show? What's your prediction? Is this a slam dunk? Pooch walks out. No way they flip it and get rid of Taylor.
At this point, I agree. I think yes. I think it's a slam dunk. Pooch goes home. I think Taylor's been working hard to get the sympathy from the house guests. She was able to flip Daniel. And like I said, I think Daniel has a big voice in the house. I think if Daniel is good on keeping Taylor, Nicole's going to be good on keeping Taylor. So that's 2 votes. If the girls alliance, the girls are good on keeping Taylor, I mean, she stays, that's the rest of the votes that she needs. But I think it's like Indy and then Alyssa, and then who listens to, either if Alyssa's not Kyle's not listening to Alyssa, they at least know, what's happening with the girls. So I'm thinking like, I don't think there's any way. And because if the girls do it, I think they're going to start. Kyle and those other guys that were on the fence maybe would say, let's just vote with the house,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you got Monty easily following the girls.
Agreed.
I think you got Kyle 100%. Who is Kyle gonna showmance with? Like, he had this great talk with Nicole about her mom Rosie and the cancer battle, and I really enjoyed that moment. I'm glad they showed it on the episode, because Kyle has felt at some points like he's just this character, and it was very two-dimensional, and he's just like, I dance and the ladies, and that was sort of his thing. It was that little quick 15-second casting video, and that's all we had seen for a week and a half or 2 weeks. And so I was glad to have a moment where it's like, we're getting to see some substance from him
Kyle,
in that moment. Yeah,
I agree. That was nice. And I think, I don't know, like, I guess Alyssa like really likes Kyle. It doesn't seem like it's reciprocated, but we'll see. Maybe Kyle will become a bigger character. And I think that since we saw that little moment with Nicole, maybe he is building those relationships in the house, and we just haven't seen it because there's so much other drama that's going on. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. I think on Twitter, I read that Alyssa follows him around like a puppy. That's what I've been reading.
Well, and I just want to say, on paper, and Rachel, I did casting. You're still doing casting for these reality shows. Like, on paper, I look at Alyssa, I look at Kyle, and I go, "Oh, done." Yeah, like they're totally a showmance.
Right.
What? I think my mind is blown that that's not happening.
Yeah. Well, I think you can't ever predict these things. I remember asking Robin Cass 1,000 million times. I said, you knew Brendan and I, you had to have known Brendan and I were going to get together. We had the science thing. Like, you knew what kind of girls. Brendan had literally described what kind of girl he would want. And I had literally described the exact kind of guy I wanted to date. Like, I had said to a T, Brendan, and they magically cast Brendan, right? So I told Robin, I was like, you have to know that when you guys say to me, if you're going to fall for a guy, what kind of guy are you going to fall for? And I described Brendan that it's going to happen. And she said, no, we never guess who's going to like each other, who's going to showmance, who's going to just rub each other the wrong way or anything like that. She's like, we don't cast people to showmance. So I wonder if, because Robin's not casting now, but I wonder if they just had no idea, or if they did put them together. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I don't know. Like
I'll tell you one time for another show. I won't get into it, but we at finals had some teams that passed each other, and when the one group of guys started talking about the other group of girls, those girls made it, as did the guys, because we were like, well, this is going to be a thing. You pass them, you give them that opportunity, like somebody's going in, do an interview, and somebody's going out, and you're like, hey, did you notice anybody? And when they keep talking about somebody that they saw, and you're like, this is going to be a slam dunk. It worked out there. I think that we may have made, like a Rachel Brendan kind of connection for one guy and one girl there. But it is always so interesting, but you can't predict it because you don't know. But maybe if Alyssa becomes seemingly unavailable, like she starts talking to Monty or something, then Kyle gets a little jealous here. Maybe I wish we could, like, you're yelling at the computer, watching the live feed, you're like, Alyssa, don't look desperate, because then because then he's like, oh, where is she? And then he's like, oh, some other guy's moving in. That's not good. Right.
I know. I wonder if that's true. And I cast all these dating shows, and even on dating shows, I never know who's going to actually like each other. And I swear, like, I will read their bios and they will describe this person, and you cast this exact person they want, and it's not, they never hit it off. So you never know.
I do know that what happens often with people is they say they like one type of person. Yes. That's not actually who they pick or go with. And you're like, wait, but all of your other people, like, I feel like we need pictures of all the people they've dated before, because then that gives you a better grasp.
Yes.
Go, because they come in and they say, oh, I like blondes. They're just like, but everyone you've dated before is a brunette. So clearly that's your fantasy person, but you never pursue that. I don't know. It's a lot more psychology than I guess we need to do on the Secret Alliance podcast, but it's super fascinating. Are you noticing, or are you reading anything on the Twitter updates and the feeds, seeing anything else where there's a little romance? I thought we would have more pairing like that than we do with just Pusif.
Yeah,
it's just Pooch and
Joseph.
Joseph, and looks like there's about to be a breakup. Okay.
I know. I'm so sad. I would love to have seen what actually happened between the two of them, because I wonder if it is a showmance bromance or if it's just a bromance. You know what I mean? But yeah. I think they're going to be broken up and it's going to be so sad. We'll never know.
Well, Sunday night, if that episode shows an eviction, if it happens, then we're going to be watching. And of course, we're going to break it all down here on the Secret Alliance podcast. We're going to keep talking about all this. Rachel, any final thoughts about players that you're really watching and you want to see something great from them to come out and pull out an HOH win in this next week?
No. And, but I will make a note because I had to correct myself. I called Nate Turner. Turner Nate. So I was
I knew when you said Nate that you were thinking Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, right. And you want to know what? That's how little we've seen of him.
Except the internet over the weekend will be concerned to know if he is showering in the Big Brother house, because it was a big breaking story the other day that apparently after some time we saw Turner showering, folks. He's getting clean. Check out past seasons of The Secret Alliance. We have interviews with so many Big Brother legends on this channel. Those videos are just waiting for you. And if you want to find out what one house guest from last season is up to now, make sure you click the link on your screen right now. See you over in that video.